I was about to marry the man of my dreams, but everything changed the moment she pulled me aside. It was the day of the wedding rehearsal, a day when everything was supposed to go perfectly. The music was ready, the decorations were in place, and I had the perfect dress waiting for me. But just moments before I walked down the aisle in front of my family, someone whispered in my ear, "Don't marry him." My heart dropped into my stomach. The woman who had said it wasn't someone I knew very well. She wasn't even in the bridal party, just a distant relative of my fiancé, Jack. I froze. What? What was she saying? Why? The words echoed in my mind, making everything around me blur. The room full of people waiting, the preparations for the ceremony, all of it faded into the background. What the hell was I supposed to do with that information? Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. I had been dreaming of this moment for years. At 64, I never imagined I'd be getting married again. After decades of living a quiet, solitary life, I had finally found someone who made me feel loved again. Jack was charming, successful, and, at least to my eyes, perfect. He was everything I had wanted in a partner. So why would anyone want to stop me from marrying him? As I stood there, frozen, the woman's face remained serious. She wasn't joking. Her expression wasn't one of playful warning, it was deep concern. I glanced at the other people in the room, Jack's family, my parents, and all the guests waiting for the rehearsal to start. What was going on? "Why are you telling me this?" I whispered, my voice shaking. I needed to understand. I had to understand before I walked down the aisle, committing my life to Jack. But before she could say anything more, I saw her glance nervously at the door, as if someone might be coming. The moment passed, and she walked away without offering any explanation, leaving me standing there, numb with confusion. I couldn't just ignore it. This woman, whoever she was, had made a statement that shook me to my core. Was she right? Was Jack really the man I thought he was? Or was there something I had missed? The music started. The rehearsal was about to begin. My parents were waiting, Jack was waiting, and I was standing there, feeling like I was on the edge of a precipice. I needed answers, and I needed them now. I couldn't marry Jack without understanding the truth. What was I going to do? The music played, but I couldn't hear it. My heart was thumping so loudly in my chest that all I could focus on was what that woman had whispered. "Don't marry him." Those words rang in my ears, but I couldn't ignore them. I couldn't shake them off like a bad dream. I had to find out what she meant, and fast. I barely knew the woman who had pulled me aside. Her name was Linda, and she was an older relative of Jack's. Someone who had appeared at family gatherings over the years, but we had never been close. She'd always seemed nice, a little distant maybe, but nothing about her ever made me think she'd be the one to stop my wedding. Yet here she was, looking me dead in the eye and telling me to not marry the man I was about to spend the rest of my life with. Jack and I had been together for nearly 3 years. He was everything I had hoped for after so many years of loneliness. He made me feel seen, cared for, and loved in ways I hadn't experienced in a long time. My friends and family adored him. They told me I was lucky to have found someone so perfect. He'd been nothing but kind, sweet, and supportive. At least, that's what I thought. Was I blind? As the rehearsal continued, my mind raced. I couldn't stop thinking about Linda's warning. She wasn't some random guest at the wedding. She was part of Jack's family. Why would she try to ruin everything? What was she trying to protect me from? There were little things that had always bothered me about Jack's past. but I never really paid attention to them. He was so open about everything: his work, his family, his life before me. He always had an explanation for everything. But then I thought back to some of the conversations we'd had, and I began to wonder. Jack had always been so careful about his past. He'd told me some stories, but they were vague. He was successful, yes, but there were parts of his earlier life that never quite lined up. I had asked about some of his old friends, but he had changed the subject so quickly. I didn't think much of it at the time, but now I couldn't ignore it. What if Linda knew something I didn't? What if she was trying to warn me? As I stood there, the room bustling with preparations, I felt like I was losing control. I had always prided myself on being a strong woman, confident and capable of making decisions. But now, with the weight of Linda's warning on my shoulders, I felt weak, like I was questioning everything I thought I knew. Jack, on the other hand, seemed completely unaware of what was happening. He was talking to my parents, smiling and laughing like everything was fine. But was it? Could I trust him completely? I didn't want to believe that the man I was about to marry could be hiding something so huge. But something deep inside me was telling me that Linda wasn't just some meddling woman. There was truth in her words. I needed to get to the bottom of it. I couldn't stand the uncertainty any longer. I had to confront Linda, ask her why she said what she did. But just as I was about to leave the room and find her, Jack turned around, walking toward me with a big smile on his face. He was oblivious to the storm brewing inside me. "Are you okay?" he asked, a hand on my shoulder. I froze. Do I tell him what happened? How could I even begin to explain something like this? How could I trust him if I didn't know the truth? The more I thought about Linda's words, the more confused and paranoid I became. Was this some kind of joke? Or was I missing something? I couldn't ignore it anymore. I had to find out what Linda knew. But how? And would Jack even believe me if I confronted him with the truth? I had one option: find Linda and demand answers. I excused myself from Jack and my family, making my way through the crowded venue. My heart pounded as I searched for Linda, my mind racing with 1,000 questions. Was she really trying to sabotage my wedding? I felt like I was losing my grip on reality. I couldn't shake the feeling that something big was about to explode, and I wasn't sure if I was prepared for it. It didn't take long to find her. She was standing in the corner of the venue, talking quietly with a couple of other guests. When she saw me, she quickly stopped talking and turned toward me. Her eyes were filled with something I couldn't quite place: fear, urgency, something darker. "Margaret," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "We need to talk. It's not safe to be here right now." Her tone was chilling, like she knew something I didn't, like she was warning me of an impending storm. Before I could say anything, Linda grabbed my arm and pulled me into a secluded hallway, away from the noise of the rehearsal. She looked around nervously, as though someone might be watching us. I felt a sense of dread in my stomach. This was getting real. "Jack is not who he says he is," Linda said, her voice shaking. "You don't know what he's been involved in. I've tried to warn you, but he's been hiding it from you for so long." I stood there, frozen. Every word she said felt like a blow to the chest. What was she talking about? "He's not just some businessman, Margaret. He's been involved in illegal activities. He's dangerous. I'm trying to protect you." She spoke so quickly, so urgently, that it was hard to process everything. "He'll deny it, but I know what I'm talking about. He's lied to you." I couldn't breathe. My mind spun, trying to piece together this new information. Illegal activities? Dangerous? My hands started to shake. I didn't know what to think. Was this some kind of conspiracy? Was Linda just trying to ruin everything because she had some personal vendetta against Jack? Or was there some truth to what she was saying? I could feel my heart racing as I tried to make sense of it all. I thought back to every conversation Jack and I had ever had about his past. He'd always been so careful about the details, and now everything felt like it was falling apart. The man I was about to marry, could he really be hiding such a dark side? Linda's face softened, but her words still held urgency. I'm telling you this because I care about you, Margaret. Please, don't walk down that aisle. It's too late for me, but it's not too late for you. I wanted to scream, to ask more questions, but everything felt like a blur. I was overwhelmed, terrified. And just then, I heard footsteps. The sound of Jack's voice calling out to me. He was looking for me. Margaret, where are you? Jack's voice was calm, but I could hear a tinge of concern in it. What do I do? Do I tell him what Linda said? Do I confront him now, or do I hold on to the little bit of sanity I had left? I turned to Linda, her pleading eyes meeting mine. Please, don't make the same mistake I did, she whispered one last time, just before I walked back toward Jack, my heart in my throat. I walked back toward Jack, my heart racing, my thoughts jumbled. My entire body was shaking as I approached him. What do I say? What if Linda was right? What if my entire life with Jack was a lie? The calmness of the rehearsal was gone. All I could hear was the pounding of my own heart as I tried to figure out what to do next. Margaret, Jack said, his voice soft and warm. Are you okay? You look pale. What happened? I was starting to get worried. He reached out to touch my arm, his eyes filled with concern. But all I could think about was Linda's warning. Was he really just concerned about me? Or was he trying to hide something? For a moment, I stood there, staring at him. I didn't know what to say. How could I explain what Linda had told me? How could I even start to ask him about the past he had hidden so well? I had trusted him with everything. I had given him my heart, my future. And now everything felt like it was shattering. I need to know the truth, Jack, I finally said, my voice barely above a whisper. I need to know what Linda meant. I need to know who you really are. Jack's face froze, his expression flickering between confusion and something else, something I couldn't quite place. His eyes widened, and for a split second, I saw something I had never seen in him before. Fear. He stepped back, his hand dropping from my arm as he looked around nervously. The tension in the air thickened, and for the first time, I felt like I was standing in front of a stranger. Margaret, Jack's voice was strained. I don't know what she's been telling you, but you need to understand, there are things in my past I didn't want you to know. I didn't think it mattered. My stomach dropped. I felt the ground beneath me shake. He was admitting it. There was something he was hiding. Jack's face was pale, his usual calm demeanor gone. I didn't want to drag you into this, but it's too late now. I've been involved in things I'm not proud of, things I thought I could bury. I took a step back, my mind reeling. So it was true. He wasn't the man I thought he was. Everything in me wanted to run, to get away from him. but something held me in place, like I needed to hear it all, like I couldn't leave without knowing exactly what I was walking away from. I was in deep with some people who didn't have good intentions, Jack confessed. There were debts, bad decisions, things that followed me. I wanted to leave it all behind when I met you, Margaret, but I didn't know how to tell you the truth. I was scared of losing you. The pain in his eyes mirrored my own confusion. I could hear the raw honesty in his voice, but I didn't know if I could ever trust him again. But just as I was about to say something, the door to the venue opened, and Jack's family walked in. The conversation was cut short. I couldn't make sense of it all, not yet. I needed answers. I had so many questions, but in that moment, all I could do was stare at Jack, trying to figure out what this all meant for us. Margaret? Jack's voice broke through my thoughts, desperate and soft. Please, can we talk? I never wanted to hurt you. And in that moment, I knew I had to make a choice. Was I willing to walk away from everything? Or was there still a chance for us, despite the lies? I couldn't breathe. The weight of Jack's confession crushed me, but it also gave me clarity. He wasn't perfect, far from it. His past was filled with mistakes, lies, and dangerous decisions. But I had to know what those things were. I needed to hear everything, no matter how painful it was. Jack looked at me, his face filled with fear and guilt. He was afraid of losing me. It wasn't just the truth about his past, it was the fear of me never forgiving him. Margaret, he pleaded, his voice breaking. I'm not that man anymore. I swear I wanted to leave it all behind when I met you. I never wanted to drag you into this. I never wanted you to find out. I looked at him, torn. I had to know the full truth. I couldn't just pretend everything was fine. I couldn't marry him without knowing exactly what I was getting myself into. You need to tell me everything, I said, my voice trembling. I need to know what you did, who you were, what you were involved in, and I need to know if you're still the same man I thought I was marrying. Jack's face paled even further. The shame was evident. There were people, shady people. I got caught up in illegal dealings. I made deals with the wrong people, and I did things I'm not proud of. He paused, looking down at his hands. But I'm out now. I've been clean for years. I wanted to leave it behind, start over with you. I was scared to tell you because I didn't think you'd ever forgive me. I didn't think you'd ever look at me the same way again. The room felt like it was spinning. I had no idea what I was supposed to feel. Relief? Anger? Betrayal? A part of me wanted to run, to walk away and never look back. But a bigger part of me realized that this wasn't about perfection. Jack wasn't a perfect man, and neither was I. I looked him in the eye, my heart pounding in my chest. Jack, I don't know what to do with this information. I don't know if I can ever forget this. But I need to decide what's best for me, for my future. And I need to know if you're really who you say you are now, or if you're still hiding things. Jack nodded, tears in his eyes. I'm not hiding anything from you anymore. I want to make this right. The fallout was inevitable. I had to tell my family what had happened, what Jack had confessed. It wasn't easy. My parents were disappointed, heartbroken. They couldn't believe I'd been so close to marrying someone with such a complicated and dark past. Jack's family, on the other hand, was torn. Some of them understood, while others were furious that he hadn't been honest with me sooner. I decided to call off the wedding. The truth was too much to ignore. And I wasn't ready to walk into a marriage filled with secrets, no matter how much I loved him. Jack left the venue that night, and our relationship ended on painful terms. We both needed time to heal, to understand ourselves before we could even think about a future together. A few months passed, and I focused on my own healing. I spent time with my friends, reconnected with family, and for the first time in years, I truly found peace within myself. It wasn't easy to let go of Jack, but I knew it was the right choice. I had to trust myself and my instincts above all else. Jack and I never got back together, but we did speak a few times. He apologized again, and though I still cared for him, I had moved on. We both learned that sometimes the hardest thing to do is to walk away, even when you don't want to. Now, when I think back to that moment at the rehearsal, when Linda pulled me aside and whispered, "Don't marry him," I'm grateful for the clarity it gave me. I might have lost Jack, but I found my strength. I found the woman I was always meant to be, someone who wouldn't settle for less than the truth, no matter how painful it was. And that was the best decision I could have ever made.